Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Catherine Kelly, and I know my topic for this month is basically tragedy to transformation. So, how do you get through some of these very, very, very difficult things that happen in life, and how do you use that as a form of transformation? Now, what's very timely for me is that we had a really, really big storm move through here last night, and not as big as some of the other places in the country. So, I'm very grateful for that. But we had a very big storm move through. And I was in my kitchen, I was making dinner, and I noticed how dark it was outside. I have a kitchen window, and then my sunroom is right off the kitchen. But I realized how dark it was, and then all of a sudden, of course, it starts pouring and thundering and lightning. And I have very, very, very tall trees all around my house, so I always get a little worried. Lights flickered 3 or 4 times, went off completely. My oven went off, thinking, okay, am I going to be able to finish cooking my dinner? All of this. And then there was a huge, huge, huge crack of thunder. I mean, huge crack of thunder. And then basically I heard this boom upstairs. I heard glass breaking. I heard, all this stuff right above where I was. And I thought, oh no, a tree hit. And the dogs were concerned and a little bit freaked out. And so I turned the stove off and I went searching to see what it was that I was seeing. And I checked the downstairs first, or the main level, I should say, first. None of those windows were hit. I didn't see any trees down. I thought, okay, what hit my house? So I go upstairs very carefully and turned the corner and realized that that crack of thunder had basically been so strong, and it shook my house so strongly that basically it was probably a 2.5 foot shelf that had all these crystals and stones and beautiful art pieces on there. It had shaken that off the wall. And so it had basically, that whole shelf unit fell off the wall and fell on the floor. And there's a little table below it, and it broke some candle holders that I had there. And so I was just frankly grateful, honestly, that it wasn't actually a branch, it wasn't a tree on the house. But as I'm sort of picking up the pieces and putting them off to the sides, assessing the damage, seeing what was basically, broken and what was salvageable, I started to think about everything that happened in Maui. And, my little shelf falling off of a wall is absolutely nothing compared to what is happening in Maui and what is happening throughout the country with all these floods and all these other storms that are happening, and the earthquake that happened in, I think, California recently. So there's so much happening, so much tragedy happening. And yet, because of who I am, one of the things that I was doing when I was picking up those pieces was thinking, okay, what am I supposed to learn by this? What is it that I'm supposed to be aware of in the fact that this particular shelf unit that had all these spots on it that I could put crystals and angels and all these different things in? I'm thinking, what does this mean? And how, as I'm cleaning up, how can I make sense of this? And what do I need to do differently when I choose to put this back together and put it back on the wall? In other words, how do I rebuild? And what am I supposed to be doing to be mindful and intentional in how I rebuild? And this all came on a day when I was already processing quite a bit, because one of the people from the Grand Canyon rafting trip that was there last year, she contacted me yesterday, had another trip to another national park, and she was asking me, some questions about some things that happened and how to make sense of them spiritually. And so I texted her back during the day, and then she told me she's doing the Grand Canyon rafting trip again with her mother starting on the 1st. And it just really, wow, I was envious, but it brought everything back. It brought everything back from that time last year that I was processing so, so, so much, that now, I look back and I think, wow, I cannot believe everything that's changed in that short year. I can't believe everything I was processing right before then. I mean, every cell in my body was uncomfortable last year at this time because I was processing so much. And so I was putting all of this together as this storm. I was literally processing that when I was making my dinner. And when that storm hit, and I realized, wow, okay, I have to stop everything, stop cooking, I have to just go take care of whatever just fell in my house. It was this interesting shift, because I've been through enough in my life and I've taught enough people to do this, but went through this immediate shift to ground myself and also realize, okay, whatever just fell on my house was there for a reason. And I need to be able to assess this and stay calm, and basically both for my dogs and for me, but to figure out what sense am I supposed to make of this? And again, I was grateful to see that it was just a small shelf. But the point I'm trying to make is that in that split second moment of difficulty, in that split second of, whoa, something just happened, we have to pull back and we have to get to that place of how can we make this into a transformative moment? How can we make this into something that is going to help us move beyond it? Now, I have been talking to clients a lot lately about the whole idea of when we are going through the difficulties of our human condition, and we may not be aware of it, but as we choose to grow beyond whatever old patterns or not react in a way that we might have reacted before, or to consciously say, what can I learn from this as you're leaning into a difficult situation? That act of being conscious as a human is also reprogramming our karmic imprint from our soul's perspective, because we will not be the same after a tragedy has arrived and as it has passed, if we consciously choose to move beyond it in a very grounded and mindful way. Now, I am not saying that it's not an emotional time. I'm not saying at all that, I wouldn't freak out too if something majorly, if a tree actually had fallen on my house. But what I'm saying is the consciousness of knowing, okay, I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to get through this better, and I'm going to rebuild, and I'm going to be in a place where I can be above where I was before. That's transformation right there. That is conscious evolution. That is how we transform. But what people don't realize is that as we work to be conscious humans, as we work to stay very present, even in the worst of emotions, in the worst of times, and observe ourselves as if we are on a movie screen, that is the exact instant when we choose evolution. That is the exact instant when we choose basically to evolve as humans, because we're thinking our way through something, but we're also evolving as souls. We are seasoning our life, our imprint, our energetic imprint is doing things differently when we choose to do things differently. So I'm trying to help people understand the whole idea of how the human condition layers upon the soul condition. And one of the things that's coming very soon, and you're going to be able to see this in the coming months, is that I actually have a diagram that I'm putting together. It's already put together, but I'm waiting for my graphics person to do her magic so I can kind of tweak what I need to. So we're working in tandem about this. But it's this diagram using my soul health model. And we already know that the 10 branches on that model are pretty much all of the core aspects of the human condition that everybody on this planet deals with. But what I've done is I've created a list of all of the influences, all of the things that make or break that human condition and make it difficult or make it easier for us to move through whatever challenges we have. And then I also made a very long list of all of the soul condition factors that take place that really make a difference for how we cope, how we see the world, how we move through things, kind of just our overall expectation of how things go. So this diagram is going to come out very soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. And I'm telling you this now because there's so many things that go into how a person copes, that I want people to know this so that they have a better blueprint. They have a better toolkit. They have something that they can go by to say, oh, yeah, some of these factors that are on her list are what impact me. And so I have to stay conscious and aware as tough things happen and as things come along that I'm not expecting. Because there are so many different factors, but the awareness of them makes all the difference in the world. So I'm tying this together with this theme for this month of basically turning tragedy to transformation, and how it is that we transform it, how it is that we can step in or lean into the discomfort of a tragedy or a difficult event or anything that kind of unexpectedly gets our attention so that we can evolve beyond it. And this is one of the biggest challenges, is to stay present and stay conscious. But I just want to make this point now because it really is about our evolution. It's about our soul's evolution. And although we're humans and we're all trying to just get through this human condition thing, we are only here because our souls chose to be here, and our souls have chosen to go through what we've gone through so that we can evolve and get to that next level. Now, I know that's very difficult to absorb and understand, that we choose our difficulties. But those of you who already understand that, this is no news to you. But for those of you who don't understand that our soul actually chooses to experience a lot of the things that we experience so that we can evolve, But when we consciously allow those things to become aware in our mindset and we move beyond them and we choose differently with how we're going to get through them, then we get through them so much easier. And that's when we can say we've evolved. So it's an interesting dynamic. And that is really what I'm all about, is helping people understand how this soul condition and human condition intertwine and layer upon each other, because it's not something distant from us. Our soul is with us all the time, whether we know it or not. And we once we learn how to use it, once we learn how to tune into it, and once we learn how to basically intertwine it and intersect into our everyday lives, it makes such a difference. So that is what conscious evolution is about. And I just want to kind of add this very timely message, because when this storm hit last night and I was getting ready to do a video today, I thought, well, this is the topic I need to talk about. So I hope this was helpful in giving you just a hands-on, real life kind of experience of how to start using this process of transformation in your own life. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and there will be much more coming soon. Take care. Bye-bye.